If you're tired of feeling like the worst defensive player in your league, or you can't seem to get a stop and now he's going to sit, that could be the ORC video pretty soon, because I just have this player completely transform his defense. I'm going to do the same for you so long as you follow the 5 tips I break down in this video. And the tips are going to get better as we go along, so make sure you stick around all the way. Let's jump right in. Alright, there's been a huge meta shift on offense with speed bursting, which makes it even more important that you can stop the run in the backfield. Let me show you how to do that.
Alright, editor, play the speed bursting clip that I sent you. And as you're watching this clip, you just need to understand that it makes it even more important to stop the run in the backfield. If you let these guys get to the second level of your defense, run defense is going to be so much more challenging, okay? So really there's 2 ways that I like to stop the run, alright? So you want to first stand. This is going to put more of the onus on your user, and so it's going to be a little bit more, yes, high risk, high reward. But all you're going to do is stand 4 yards over top of the guard on the running back side, so the left guard here in this case, and you're going to take the snap, and then you're just going to try to run through that gap and stop that ball carrier in the backfield. You see I have 2 controls right now, and it's still very easy because all you're doing is waiting for the offensive line to like double team, right? You're standing far enough back so they don't even recognize you. They don't even know like you're a threat in the run game. So they double team this defensive tackle, and then boom, you just dive through and stop James Cook in the backfield, okay? Now, what they're going to try to possibly do is speed burst immediately, and that's why you have to press X or square on PlayStation, X on Xbox to make this dive tackle in the backfield, okay? You don't dive, you're going to allow them to basically speed burst out of there and actually, turn that into a big gain, all right? So next, we're going to come into the same play with the same alignment, all right? And we're going to have them take the snap right here, all right? So boom, take it, they double team, and then you're able to see it. And that's what happens when you miss, okay? I missed right there, and so then they're able to get to the second level of the defense. So it just shows kind of the importance. Now, this takes practice. I'm going to show you a second method that's probably a little bit easier. But boom, we're going to take it, and then we're going to try to make that dive tackle in the backfield. I miss one more time, and so they were able to get to the second level. So this is kind of illustrating to you that if you don't stand right here and, do this correctly, let me lock in and actually get this gap shoot, all right, for the video. But if you don't do this correctly, like, they're going to have room to run, all right? And so that time you're able to see defensive lineman makes a play. I've done this many times. It's really not that hard. You just loop around the offensive line, shoot through gaps, and, dive tackle these guys in the backfield, all right? So that's run defense number 1. But run defense number 2 is going to be coming into nickel double mug. We're going to call inside zone here, okay? We're going to have them in mid blitz, or excuse me, we're going to call mid blitz. And all you're going to do is look at the offensive line. All right, so you see how right now there's a flame icon over the top of the safety. That means that the offensive line is going to let the safety come in free right here. Okay, but what if I take this linebacker and move him over, Devin White? I move him over top of the center. Now you see who the flame icon is over. It's also over top of that linebacker, which is good for us. That means the line's going to let him come in free. So if I take the snap, run into the center, you're able to see how that guy's just going to come shooting right through. Now, sometimes I would click on, because of how good the speed burst is on offense, I would, take the snap, click onto him, and then make the dive tackle myself so that he can't just speed burst away from that guy who came in free. But regardless, that's still a huge positive for you, allowing a guy to come in free. So again, this is mid blitz from nickel double bug. The key is if I don't move him over, right, if I don't do that and I just take the snap, you see how everyone gets picked up, and if they wanted to speed burst out of there, they could. All right, so this is how dangerous the speed burst is. Okay, everyone gets picked up. I speed burst out of there, and you can pick up a big gain if you go left or if you go right. Right. So, but once you move this man over, okay, now the flame icon is going to be over the top of his head, and so if we go ahead and take the snap as an offense, you see how he's going to come in free. Hit stick that guy and bring him down. So run defense, very easy when you use one of those 2 methods. All right, the next mistake you're probably making on defense that's costing you games, you don't have the right settings equipped. No one can play good defense without the right settings. Let me show you. Alright, so I'm going to break down the best settings here, and then I'm going to tell you why you need to be using them. Alright, so cornerback matchups, make sure this is on balance. We're going to talk about this in a second and why it could be costing you. Defense and motion response, make sure this is on disabled if you're running zone coverage. Option defense needs to be on conservative. Alright, and then you want to make sure that you have your curl flats on 5. Zone drops, You know, we're gonna talk about those later in the video, so like they'll come back up. But if I just want to set them and forget them, I put them on 5 curl flats and then leave it. Safety depth on close, width on pinch. This is like one of the most important adjustments in the game that you can make on defense. All right, I'm gonna show you right here. We're gonna come onto the field, all right, and you see how our safeties are really close to the line of scrimmage, which means if they try to call a route concept like this, they can't just throw their tight end seam, because we have, not only do we have an underneath defender, but then we also have a safety over the top, which essentially is just going to close the airspace in between these two and make it very hard for them to like find a passing window before someone breaks on the ball. All right, you can also see Shakir right here on his go ball. You can see you have an underneath defender, and then you have your safety over the top. So again, that airspace that they can throw this pass is very small, and it makes it to where that safety is easily going to be able to break on the ball if they decide to throw it, okay? But next, I'm going to talk about what happens if you don't put your cornerback matchups on balanced, okay? And if you put it on by speed, by route running, and this could be seriously affecting you, okay? Let's just say I don't want to have them in a trips formation. We're going to actually put them in like spread wide flex, okay? Spread by flex. So you're going to see, let's say Isaiah Palamau is the fastest DB on the field. And let's just say Brandon Cooks is their fastest receiver. All right, and you have it on by speed. Well, then Johnson is the second fastest, and number 10 is the second fastest receiver. And then Jeremy Chin, third fastest, line up over the tight end. And then let's just say, I think Keon Coleman's actually their fastest receiver. But let's just say we have Devin White, and he moves over here. Well, look at our defense now. We're lined up by speed, right, which is what we have it set to, but then we're running zone coverage, right? And so if they know huddle, this is what your defense is going to look like, right? We go ahead and take the snap. There's no deep zone on that side of the field, and so it's just an easy walk-in touchdown. That's probably happening to you, and it's why you say, my defense is messed up. That's probably why, because your guys are trying to follow across the field, because that's what you're telling them to do. You're telling them to match up with the receivers by route running, by speed, by height, but then you're in zone coverage, so it's really hurting you. So again, make sure you have your cornerback matchups unbalanced, and that'll fix all of the problems with your defensive setting. All right, if you're enjoying this defensive breakdown so far, I encourage you to go down below in the comments, comment free, and I'll send you a free guide to dominate Madden 26. Let's jump right back into it. All right, next, any good defensive player needs a go-to blitz. Let me show you one of my favorites right now. All right, so we're going to come into nickel 33 cub. We're going to come into mid blitz 0. Okay, I have the playbooks on the screen that this is found in. Okay, so we're going to come into mid blitz. What we're going to do, it's a very similar concept to what I talk about a lot if you guys watch a lot of the videos, but we're going to be overload blitzing them. So what do I mean by that? Just drop your defensive end right here. Now, you wouldn't want it to be your best defensive end. You would want Max Crosby to be rushing. For the sake of showing you, drop the defensive end into a curl flat. Then shift your D-line left, so press D-pad left, D-pad left, left stick left to shift them left, okay? Then you want to stand directly here over the center, put your user in a zone assignment just like this. Now, as far as the covers that you want to do on the back side of the play, if you want to just run a cover 2, I mean, you could certainly do that, something like this, that's perfectly fine. But here's the key. Getting the attention of the center. With this specific blitz, overload blitzing, essentially what you're trying to do is play 3-on-2 on the back side, on the left side here. You get the attention of the center, and then they have 2 offensive linemen on the left. We have 3 rushers. Someone's bound to come in free. Now, it's not easy to get the attention of the center. It used to be a little bit easier, but I feel like they low-key buffed the O-line to where they are better at picking this up. But it doesn't mean it's impossible, and so that's why we're going to try to be doing it, okay? Press D-pad up, right trigger, left stick down, okay? And so really all that's going to do is it's going to allow you to basically run straight down without getting called for offside, because as soon as the ball snap, you're going to be running right down into the center already. And then when the ball snap, make sure you're spamming A on Xbox, X on PlayStation, okay? So I'm going to go try it right here. Boom, get the attention of the center. I'm able to do it, and then you're able to see that guy's able to push his way into the quarterback. I didn't fully get the attention right there. He kind of blocked me and then blocked someone else, but it was just enough. You can see 92 gets just far up the field to where he's and this is just terrible physics. He's already past the center. I don't understand how he just doesn't run in free, but he gets caught in animation, but he eventually just pushes his way into the center. But here's the key. I spam A to get off the block, and so now I'm able to get back into coverage and use it, let's say, for example, that James Cook running back route in the middle of the field. That's very important that a lot of people probably won't tell you, is you need to find out, like, you have to actually get back into coverage and play pass defense, because this is only a 4-man rush, technically. you're trying to play pass defense still with your user, right? So if you just actually, leave all out man coverage here, again, you have full freedom to do whatever you want with the coverage. All you really need to do is get the attention of the center and get back into coverage, and everything else will take care of itself. So boom, take it, try to get the attention of the center, and then you're able to see, boom, defensive tackle, nose tackle comes in free, what we kind of call a nano blitz, right? So, I mean, you could just see how it's pretty easy if you do your job correctly. Everything comes back to execution, and so this is like a go-to blitz, but if I don't get the attention of 66, they have good blocking. Everyone will be picked up. But since I do, we allow our guys to play 3-on-2 on the backside of the play, and it's going to be really good. And here's the last thing I'll say about this specific blitz. If you want to open custom stunts, so press D-pad left, right trigger, and then press Y to open the left exit 2-man. This will make this blitz even better for you, a little bit faster. It probably will allow your defensive ends or your outside linebackers on the left to come in free. So we're going to set it up the same way. We're going to stand right here over the center. We're going to press D-pad up, right trigger, left stick down, take the snap, try to get the attention of him, and then you're able to see, boom, he comes in free. Sometimes that stunt will force your guys to loop around, which can delay the rush, but sometimes it'll like get this man to just walk in free. So it kind of just depends. That's why I say mix in the custom stunt. Don't just call it every play, but you're able to see, still able to get really easy pressure, and everyone's locked down, defense on the back end of the play. Now, you're in man coverage, so you can route commit as well. I've talked about that in a couple of my videos. Card will be at the top right, where if you click over to that video after this one, it's like I talk about route committing to make your man coverage better behind the blitz. But that's one of my favorite go-to blitzes in Madden 26. All right, and if you want to know more about that specific blitz or nickel through cub and more, I have that in my defensive ebook. Go to the link down below in the description and the pinned comment and check that out. I guarantee it'll help out your defense, and let me know how it works for you. Let's jump right back into it. All right, you're tired of loading up against your friends online, and you're constantly getting hit with corner routes, out routes, just a bunch of flood concepts. Let me show you how to stop those. All right, so if we come into our zone drops here, okay, we're going to come into the coaching adjustments. We're going to put our flats on 20 yards, okay? We're going to put our flats on 20, or you could put them on 25. It kind of just depends on what you're trying to do right here, okay? And they're going to call a corner route, right? Corner route, Kincaid, we put our guy on 20 yards, and look who's sitting right there for the pass breakup, number 22, right? So you're going to be able to take away their corner routes. Very simple adjustment, right? Just you call a cover 2, put your flats on 20 yards. You see it again right here. Boom, he's dropping, and he's really in a perfect spot to just break on that pass. Fantastic. But you're going to say, BLT, well now, I mean, what if they just put their running back on a table route, right? I mean, like, there's no one in the flat area, and it's going to be easy yards, right? If they want to just speed burst, right, do whatever they got to do. And yeah, and you have a valid point, because that's the problem. That's why flood concepts are so good, because now you're going to see, let's just say you set your zone drop flats to 5 as well to take away that underneath route. So now I just have a guy sitting right here underneath. He's going to stop that running back swing route out of the backfield, right? Well, now you're going to see the corner route's going to be wide open if they don't bump into it, but the corner route's open. So it's like you're almost picking your poison when you run a cover 2 defense. And obviously, as we know, like if we call it a cover 3, I mean, flood concepts will destroy cover 3 defenses, right? There will be no one on the deep sideline. So if we reset our defense here, I'm going to show you how to stop both of those at the same time and, get rid of that problem. So all you're going to do, put an outside linebacker or a slot corner in the curl flat who's set to 5, and now you're going to have your flat set to 20 yards. So now you're going to have a guy dropping all the way back there, and so you're going to be able to stop both of them at the same time. So let's go ahead and set it up for them. All right, flood concept on this right side. Boom, take the snap. You can see Max Crosby's in that zone, and then we also have a guy dropping all the way back, and shout out to drop picks in this game. But you're able to see we're everywhere, right? We're everywhere we need to be. Crosby right off the rip. Boom, you take this away. Very easy. You're in a 5, and then boom, you're here to stop this corner out over the top. Very, very easy for you, okay? So again, all it is just, we call it a double Mabel, all right? So again, we're just going to put Crosby in the 5. We're going to have our 20-yard flat dropping, and so we're going to be able to stop both these routes at the same time. You see, we throw that. I mean, Crosby right there, break that pass up. So it's not really that hard to do. You just really have to make sure that you're doing it on both sides, because let's just say they change up the route concept a little bit here. but we set the defense up the same way. Well, now we want to make sure that we're also doing it on the left, because if they're really just a flood concept fiend, I mean, like, they can just call this and change up what side they're calling the flood concept to, and so you still have to be able to defend it. You see how we're sitting right there on that, come up, make that tackle, right? And then we're also guarding that deeper corner on that left side as well. So really stopping flood concepts, stopping out routes, stopping corners, crossers, posts, whatever it is, you just need to make sure you're understanding where they're running to, and make sure you have zone drops set to that area, so that, boom, this defender's sitting right here on it, and then this guy's sitting right here 5 yards, take away this running back out of the backfield. So that's how I would stop both corner routes, crossers, post, halfback out routes, table routes, everything all in one. All right, you're tired of getting spammed every game over and over again by RPO users. Let me show you exactly how to shut all of that down. All right, so you can do this really out of any zone defense. You see I'm right here in cover 4, okay? You can be in cover 3, you can be in cover 2 to stop RPO. So you're gonna see the RPO that they have called. There's many different RPOs in this game. Some people are gonna put that wide receiver on a flat route instead of a bubble. Sometimes they're gonna call wide receiver screens, right? But it's really all the same concept as far as stopping them. All you need to do, press wire triangle, then you need to press the right stick down to shade your coverage underneath. Now, again, make sure you have default flat zones on, right? Make sure you put your flats back to default if you were using the last tip I showed you. But we're gonna have hard flats in the field. These guys are gonna be basically sitting at 5 yards, okay? So now you're gonna see we have a hard flat. So boom, we take the snap and we're just gonna be sitting right on it. And I mean, this dude, number 11 today, is having a rough time tackling, but you're sitting right on the route, and it's going to be, not really that hard for you to actually, break on this pass and knock it away, right? But here's the thing. If we have them call a timeout, we're going to come into a different RPO here, because there's many different RPOs here in this game, and you have to really be able to defend all of them. It's really not that hard to stop all of them, but the Bills are a good example of this. We're going to come into trips tight end, and we're going to have them call RPO alert bubble, okay? So we're going to come right back into a cover 3 defense, and you're going to see I'm going to set the defense up the same way. I'm just going to shade my coverage down. Now I have hard flats on the field, but here's the problem. We're going to take this snap, and exactly that's going to happen, where the hard flats now are going to get blocked, right? Even if you ran a cover 2, the outside corner in the cloud flat will get blocked, right? So we're going to change it up. We're going to call Tampa 2 right here. And we're going to shade our coverage down, right? There's still, he's still going to get blocked, right? There's receivers out there. That's the point. That's their coaching point on offense, is to block, get up and block those guys, right? So here's the thing, and that's probably the problem that you're having, is you can't, when they have extra blockers, it's going to be really hard for you, okay? Shade your coverage down, so you're going to be in hard flat still. Then you want to man up whoever is going to be getting the ball, okay? So if it's in this formation, it's pretty obvious that the inside receiver is going to be getting the ball here in the bubble, so you're going to man him up with a linebacker, right? So now you have both a hard flat, which is great, but he'll probably get blocked, but now you have a man up. And so really, this man up guy will never get blocked. There's no one to block him. But here's the last thing that you need to do. You need to pass commit your defense. You need to press RB and then right stick up to pass commit, to make sure that linebacker is not looking into the backfield to stop the pass. So you're going to take this snap, and now you see exactly kind of what I'm talking about, where everyone else is going to get blocked except for him, because that's his man assignment. He doesn't have any other assignments. He doesn't have anything else to worry about. So boom, come down, make this tackle very, very easy, no problem, okay? And again, because he's pass committed, he's not looking into the backfield to stop, a run play, right? And so that's the thing. It's whether they want to have a bubble, a flat, it doesn't even matter, because here's the thing. Some people are going to hot route RPOs, maybe put him on a streak. He's still manned up, so he's still going to get guarded. But the last thing I'll tell you about RPO defense here is going to be, you need to make sure you're still having a good user. So earlier in the video, I told you about run defense. That was the first tip we talked about. Well, this is an RPO, so run defense is part of this. So again, it's just the same thing I talked about though earlier, where you're going to pass commit your defense, but you're going to try to loop around and shoot a gap. So we're going to have them take the snap, and you see I'm just right there to make that play. Again, you want to dive tackle, press X on Xbox, square on PlayStation, right, to make that dive tackle in the backfield. But that's really all it is, because you still see the same thing happens, where we have our hard flat, but he's going to get blocked, which is fine. That's why we have our man up, who's pass committed. So he's not looking into the backfield to stop the run, and then we just loop through with our user. Here's the thing though, if you miss this gap shoot with your user, your defense is pass committed. So if they can break off a run, they'll probably score. They could score a touchdown on it if you don't shoot a gap. But you see how wide open this is. This is very easy to just run right through and make a play. I did it with 2 controllers. You practice this at home. It's going to be very routine, very easy for you. So you might want to save this defense to stop RPOs, because I pretty much just gave you a whole seminar on how to stop every single RPO in the game. All right, so again, if you enjoyed any of those 5 tips, just imagine what's in my defensive ebook and what I can teach you there. Go to the link down below in the pinned comment in the description. Grab it at bltforlife21.com. But I do want to help you out on offense, so check out this video where I break down 5 tips to transform your offense in Madden 26. I'll see you over there.